What?
Hi!
Hey everybody, we're back. This is update number 3 for our coffee shop.
Although we're like 6 months in.
We are 6 months in. We're doing our best, so this is gonna be an update from our last video, April 16 to May 16 or whatever date you're looking at this.
Yeah.
So we just came back from New York City a week ago, and we have so much to tell you guys. We have so much drama, so much new plates, we have so much development on the business side, and she's dying to tell you everything.
No! Okay, what to talk about first? Well, the first thing was at the end of March, we had this idea in our head that it had been a while since a new business had opened in the plaza. So that way, well, probably the people eating in that area were getting tired of the same old thing. So we decided to invest in 1 month special of a pollo parmigiano with spaghetti, chicken parmesan, bread, salad, and we would sell it for 4,000 colones.
Which is about $8. So
pretty good.
here's a picture.
What if it's not there?
Here's another picture.
Right.
So pretty much we were thinking about diversifying a little bit more the options the customers had to eat, and since there was nobody who was offering pasta, we decided to take the lead role in it and offer pasta options, and it actually ended up selling better than our best selling sandwich, so it's a plus for us and we've been growing with it. And actually we introduced a new special of this month, which is the rosemary honey garlic chicken. So it's a new addition to our short list of plates, which officially makes us as a cafe bistro instead of just a cafe.
Yes, yes, we're diversifying. But definitely, if you think to do something like that to expand your menu in some type of way, I wouldn't go too crazy. And for example, we weren't sure how popular it would be, so during the week, Monday through Thursday, we sold it at a special price that would include a drink, just to kind of like ease people into that price threshold. And then when we first initially started selling it, we bought like 4 plates.
And what's funny is that when we first started, we only started with 4 packets of chicken, and then we sold that in 2 days, so we bought 8 packets of chicken. We ended up buying almost a case worth of chicken, and we're still going through that, so that's a good news for us.
Yes, so right now we're carrying both of those plates at the same time, the Parmesan and the Romero, and then sometime in June we'll introduce another plate and probably move the least popular one back off the menu.
We have a new pastry cake, which is the lemon cake.
Well, first actually, let me say that right before we left for New York, I had this idea forever that I wanted to sell more cakes. And Fernando's like, oh, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And so right before we left for New York, we made 2 loaves of lemon cake. And then I think
You sold out?
in like days after being gone from Costa Rica.
Literally 3 days after, all the lemon cake
completely sold.
Yeah.
So really popular.
After coming back from New York, we immediately introduced a new cake, which is
The coffee cake.
a coffee cake, which is coffee, vanilla, and chocolate marble cake with an espresso glazing. And I'm so glad Xenia like convinced me to do it, because it's one of the best cake we've ever done, and it's so delicious, and it sounds as delicious as it looks, and it tastes as delicious as it sounds, and it feels as delicious as it is.
Yes. These 2 cakes are so popular. Like the original cake, when we first started selling back in December, we only sold 1 kind of cake. We didn't even have cheesecakes or anything yet. We sold the quecote, which is a chocolate 2-layer cake with pink frosting and strawberries, and that was it, and it sold great. But now like these 2 cakes are overshadowing it and I get so sad. But I am ready to try more new things. I just don't want to introduce too many products all at once. Because we have a lot of ideas, but the place we're at in the plaza doesn't necessarily have as much traffic as we want. Even though we have really amazing days sometimes, really great weeks, we always want to be doing better. So talking about the plaza, like when you find the location for your cafe, it's probably so essential, your foot traffic. And you really have to think about like the promises people are making you. Like let's say you open a location and someone tells you like, oh, we're remaking this street and then people will be walking here all the time. You're like, oh, this area is gonna be booming, let me build here. But then months later, the road is never done and you're not making the business you want to be making based on the investment you put in.
There's been some solidarity amongst the tenants, because now we actually made a WhatsApp group chat and we've been discussing all the points that we wanted to bring up to the administration.
So those are some cons. I mean, I know the plaza's trying because like they're having more events all the time and they're gonna try and make it so like every weekend there's a farmer's market. So trying to draw in that crowd who doesn't want to drive really far to the ferias or anything. And we're gonna see if that's gonna happen. Today there was go-kart racing and that was kind of cute, but I wouldn't say they advertised it well. And advertising can definitely make a huge difference because no one knows you're throwing anything.
Pictures!
Yes. So the last time we talked, we mentioned how one business had closed. And in the 2 months or so since that happened, maybe 3, nothing new has replaced that old location. But there's been a new development that now in May, a travel agency opened by the dentist, which is close to us. So looking a little bit more full. Happy to welcome them to the plaza.
Yes. And a little bit of good and bad news is that our competition is leaving.
The other cafe, yes. We heard it through the rumor mill early last week, right when we got back from New York. And so we just headed on over to talk to them. And they've been open for 6 months. They've been open as long as us. And so they ride it out, you know, the ups and downs, and they've decided to move somewhere else, I guess.
The advantage is that we do have a kitchen, so we can, you know, be flexible with what we do and cater to customers with that. So Xenia won the bet because she betted that they wouldn't move out until 6 months after.
Exactly, I knew it. So it's bittersweet because I'm happy to see them go because I never felt really comfortable being friendly with them, and then we get to corner that market on coffee essentially, unless they invite someone else in. Who knows what the plaza will do. But for now, well, starting June, it'll be just us, and so whatever sales they've been getting, we might be seeing an upkick.
Yes,
for
and
us.
It's a good thing because we will finally be able to see how it feels like to have a market of exclusivity, what we should have had in the first place.
Yeah.
There's this optics office that they confirmed that if the coffee shop next to them was living, they would also live.
For the sake of the plaza, you're like worried that it's not gonna look full, people are gonna stop coming by. Like you want it to be, like you don't want to be in a mall that's empty. You want the mall to be full.
Yes. The less errands people have to make in a plaza, the less of a possibility they'll stop by and buy a cup of coffee. And that's what worries me the most. But hopefully now with the travel agents coming in and potentially a gym, it'll be able to boost our sales.
I'll go to that gym. It sounds nice.
It'll be so nice to just close a little early, go to the gym, and then go home and shower and sleep.
Exactly. So the only new development that we have no idea what's going on and that I feel like we really need to talk about is our neighbor next door. They serve Mexican style food, right? I think we've mentioned that before. And we've always been friendly with them, and it was run by 3 owners. 2 brothers and an investor who put in all the money. And what happened was that the guy who put in all the money, he wasn't there every day, but he was receiving a paycheck as if he was working 8 to 10 hour days. While the 2 guys who were working there with their family, pulling all the shifts, making the produce, making the products, like working the long hours behind the grill or making the same amount as that guy. And I guess they started to resent him.
The fact that you partner up with somebody who's not there and he's taking a paycheck, that's a huge red flag in the first place. So 6 months into the business, and it's been beautiful to see how well it grows. Like, I can remember the first week we've been open, it's just introducing ourselves to strangers. And then just yesterday we had one of the best sales day we had, and it was mostly because of people we knew. These people are our friends and they come down to support us knowing the situation in the plaza, and we appreciate that. It's very touching to know that as you're starting, you're also making friends with your first business customers.
Creating like a loyalty. When the other coffee shop originally opened, we told ourselves like if we couldn't sell the same drinks as them, or maybe people would like their pastries better, we were gonna try and beat them on customer service, on how well people felt when they came to our shop. And I feel like maybe that's why, and just like keeping our menu fresh, we're gonna be outlasting these guys once they leave after their 6-month mark. And so, but what you have to do is like, you always have to remind yourself about why you're doing it and what you're doing. Because it's so easy to get tired, like, getting comfortable with your reoccurring customers, that you're not as welcoming to your new customers. Because we did have, like, I would say maybe half the people we saw yesterday were new.
When you do so much stuff, you take care of the business more than you take care of yourself, and you can't forget to put in some time to recharge. You can't get yourself too tired.
Yeah, exactly. So always try and remind yourself. I think like maybe the videos help us in that way. We get to look back and see like, that's how energized I was before. That's how energized I need to stay, because especially depending on what market you go into, your customer might need to be educated on your product, and if you just start slowing down on doing that, like getting people excited about what you're selling, then obviously you're gonna have less new customers. Yesterday was definitely one of our busier days, and it's so important in that moment that you know you trained your staff well. And I think by the time now that we're at 6 months, yesterday we were 5 people behind bar. It was 2 people in the kitchen, 2 people on bar, and 1 person rotating between cashier, kitchen, and bar. You know, and also running around to the customers.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out how to place people as best as possible to make the most efficient use of their time.
Right.
Because I mean the kitchen's constantly moving.
Oh, we just bought a microwave.
Yeah,
Oh my god, it can
mean,
really change your life. We just couldn't afford one initially, and now we can. Oh my god, also what we invested in right after we came back, we had tables installed in our cafe.
Pictures.
Yeah. If you remember the last time when we did a video in the shop, there were no tables. It was a pretty big space. We had 2 tables installed. We went out and bought more chairs.
Yeah.
We have like
We
10
finally
chairs
saw
now.
the investment worth it, and ever since we had it, everybody's been sitting in it.
It's rainy season in Costa Rica right now, so it's really great to have those tables because it's warmer inside the shop. The music creates an ambiance. They get to talk to us, however you want to say it. The extra seating is definitely being utilized right now.
Yes.
But keeping on to that point, yesterday it was really busy, and oh my goodness, like I loved it, but it's also stressful. So you really have to make sure that when you're training your staff, that they're not a hindrance to you. Like if I can yell over to my other coworker and say, get me my cup, they should know what cup I need based on the drink I'm making. You really gotta know like your spatial awareness. You have to know your menu. You have to know all the ingredients someone might need to put a plate or a sandwich together.
You gotta put your load on somebody else's role as well. So so when I'm not working in the kitchen, I also go out and check on the tables, and if I'm done with that, I do the dishes. I never touch the drinks, because Xenia kills me if I touch the espresso machine, so not my area.
Especially when you're the owner, you know that like every time you do something, it's gonna be the best. And as soon as you start hiring people, the hardest part is realizing like I don't have 4 sets of hands. So if I need to go like you're like, oh, I need to make this plate of Parmesan and I'm making the spaghetti, but who is gonna get the salad for me? And then you don't wanna be micromanaging your worker who's making that salad for you. You wanna just accept it and hope that it's good. But that all comes from training them correctly on the slow days.
The tough thing about being an entrepreneur is that once you're so used to being on top of everything because you need to be on top of all the departments, is that when you can't do everything on your own, you have to come to terms to depend on somebody else to do it for you. And that's one of the hardest things to do because you expect them to do as good as you do. Even if it's just clean the sink or clean the floor, you want them to do it a specific way, but they have their own way. So I just agreed to it and I just accepted it. As long as it is done and in a proper way, they can use whatever method they need. You know?
Hopefully you have someone who can be like on their feet, because usually like what we started doing now when we got so busy is we got a thing to start tacking up the receipts so that way we know what's in order and if we haven't missed anything yet. But you need a receipt like for the kitchen and for the bar staff, and I wish when we printed the receipts they like printed in two, but you definitely need someone who can like handle like seeing a printer receipt and also having like a tallying list in their head where they're crossing it off. Because if you're not constantly moving and able to take in new orders, you need to get out. Like, you're not hired. I can't handle this.
Anyhow, we're in the middle of May.
Service is important.
Service is important. Anyhow, we're in the middle of the May and it's rainy season, but it's also mango season, which is one of my favorite fruits because you can do just so much out of it. You can make mango puree, you can make mango salad, you can make tossed mango, you can make mango on mango, and they're sweet, they're cheap. You can get about 7 pounds with $2. I mean, like,
you love mangoes, I don't. But that's definitely something to consider if you're in a country that's not the US. There's definitely seasons for these fruits. Like right now, avocados are really hard to get.
Yes.
Canepas are in season and so are mangoes. So for example, we haven't been using as many melons in our fruit salads. We've been substituting papaya in. Or mango, whatever. I get them confused all the time. I don't care about that fruit. But literally, just use what's cheaper, what's available. It's an easy substitution.
And hopefully by the end of this year, we're gonna have all the logistics and operations set so we can move on to either a new location or a smaller location, or at least not be as on top of it as we are right now.
You always have to be thinking about your numbers, about the long game basically, and eventually maybe we'll decide the plaza is not the best place, or maybe we'll decide let's open 3 locations next year, although that's not how I work. That probably won't happen. Here's a piece of advice that I definitely think you should consider for these type of things when you're thinking of expanding, right? So like we mentioned in the last video, we had just printed new menus in like March, and as soon as we did that, the other cafe immediately printed new menus with pictures, flipbook, very similar to ours. The mistake that can easily be made is you invest a lot of money into these nice menus and then you put your address and phone number for a location that you're not gonna be at. So they printed their new menus in April and now they're leaving the plaza at the end of May. If you have a nice menu, they're already in the shop, they don't need to know your number. Put your phone number on a paper menu that they can throw and take it with them. You don't care if they throw it away. Like, keep it in mind for marketing purposes. Because, you know, your location might change and you might want to pick up that nice menu and take it with you.
Just make sure that you invest the amount you're willing to lose, and when you make that investment, make sure they're multifunctional. But that's about it. I mean, at least as much as we can fit under a 20-minute video or so. Yeah,
we try. There's just so much to say.
We're trying to do our best to do this on a monthly basis, and now that everything's going more smoothly and we're getting more hands on deck, we've been getting more time to do this sort of stuff.
Right.
So anyhow, if you liked it, thumbs up.
Thanks for following, for watching.
If you enjoyed this or you find it useful, please subscribe and ask us the questions you need to ask us.
Learn from our mistakes, future people.
Or our success.
Yes. Bye.